Hello Gunpla fans, this is DZ Maven here, and it's time for another review. And today I'm going to be reviewing a hand grenade. Nope, not quite exactly here, but today I have the real grade Zeta Gundam here. Pretty much every place online I've been looking at when getting some preliminary ideas on this kit here, just about everybody describes it as a hand grenade. I guess that means if I somehow pick it up, it's going to explode into a billion pieces here, but I'm really curious. Will it explode into a billion pieces when I handle it here? Well, let's find out. So anyway, here it is, all built, and as you can see, it's standing pretty nicely there. Nice and stable here. Let me get him turning around here for you here. I do kind of want to preface this review a little bit with a few interesting things about this kit when I was building it here. When you first get this kit here and you open up the box and take a look at the parts and the instruction manual for this thing, you're probably going to have to sit there wondering for probably several minutes trying to actually figure out what exactly you are looking at. Because I built pretty much, well, I built a lot of real grades, and at this point I've had experience with the MS joint frames of every other kit that is out there. The Zeta Gundam, on the other hand, the MS joint frame for this kit is very, very different from any other real grade, and you know, it probably should be obvious because this is a fully transformable 144 Zeta Gundam kit here, which, to be honest, people probably 20 years ago, when the first Master Grade Zeta came out and that was fully transformable, they would have thought something like this would have been completely unthinkable. And, you know, the unthinkable happens sometimes with Bandai. They do pull some surprises, like they have recently. But when you're looking at the manual, trying to put this thing apart, there's going to be a lot of parts you're not going to recognize right off the bat here. Such as the MS joint frame that comes with the kit here. When you pull it out and look at it at first, you can kind of figure out where the arms are. You can kind of figure out where the legs and the feet are, but you're going to kind of be left wondering, where is the torso? Where are the torso bits for this kit? They're kind of all scattered around on the frame, and you can't really make any sense out of it. It's like, okay. And coming from me, who's built the Master Grade Zeta 2.0, which I've gotten pretty familiar with, there was a lot of stuff on here I did not even recognize. So while this kit is kind of similar in some ways to the Master Grade Zeta 2.0, it's also pretty different in some ways. So it was a very adventurous build, to put it lightly. But moving on here with things here, let's talk about the details and the general appearance of this kit here. As you might expect generally from the real grade line, this thing looks pretty spectacular straight out of the box here. There's lots of detail. Every part is molded in the color it should be here. There's lots of panel lining all over it here. And I mean, if you enjoy stickers, there's a lot of stickers with this kit here. In fact, this kit kind of surprised me. It has one of the largest sticker sheets I have seen. It actually puts some Master Grade sticker sheets to shame. But I really do think this is probably the biggest sticker sheet in a real grade kit I have seen. It is bigger than stuff I have seen for most Master Grades. But, you know, I managed to get through it. I got it all on there, so it's all on there. And the sticker, it is kind of sticker heavy as a result of it, I would say. You know. But this is coming off the real grade Gundam Mark II, which came out a little bit before it, and the GP01, which I think was before it as well. And, you know, a lot of the early real grades are pretty sticker heavy, so I think maybe it was after this, and maybe Bandai started to tone it down a little bit here. Maybe, I think. But, appearance-wise, it is pretty darn good looking out of the box here, as you might expect from the real grade line here. You really don't have to do any additional detail painting on this anywhere. I couldn't find anything. Probably if I wanted to be really picky about something, they do give you the green foil stickers for the eye sensors and everything. They give you one for the head sensor, forehead sensor on the back of the head. The only iffy part about that is that those are technically supposed to be blue, but they give you green stickers for those, which is kind of weird. But I mean, I didn't use them. I went ahead and just put some clear blue on there. They actually come molded in a very light clear blues. I mean, you can kind of leave them unstickered if you want. but I put a little bit of extra blue on them just to kind of darken them up a little bit here so they look better. But I did use the stickers for the eyes because the eyes are supposed to be green on the Zeta Gundam. But I mean, it's as great looking as the Sphinx are out of the box. There are some things besides, you know, the head sensor thing that I am kind of a little concerned about visually here. And for that, I kind of have to show you that here. So let me stop him here real quick here so I can show you here. There are some safe places to pick him up as, like the tail binder is pretty stable here. Now, I mean, if you're looking at it from the front, he looks pretty much okay. Looks okay. Let me get shine my light here. And yes, something fell off. I know exactly what that was. I'll talk about that later. But as I kind of turn the kit here a little bit up here, like so, I don't know if you can kind of tell. He's actually bending here, but there are actually some pretty big gaps in the torso of this guy. You can kind of see right through him and see how hollow he is inside. And those are kind of things that I don't really particularly like seeing, because you can kind of see right through the torso. If you look straight down here, you can see straight down into the structure of the inside of the torso here. Normally on most master grade kits you would probably not see that. I think on this real grade maybe it was just kind of unavoidable due to the way it is, but these gaps are pretty big. That's like half a centimeter right there. And under the armpits here there's a hole you can kind of see almost straight through the torso here. I see to the other side right there. Kind of bugs me a bit. But yeah, that's what you get with this guy here. But I mean, he's like I said, he's pretty great looking. So he gets a 9 out of 10 from me on the detail score here. So almost perfect, almost perfect. So so moving on to articulation here, which is probably the big thing that a lot of people are concerned about on this kit here. Let me take his beam rifle off and his shield off to best demonstrate what we can do here with this guy. Now, as you pick this guy up to try and bend him around, probably one of the first problems you're going to run into is where to hold this thing as you are trying to move it around. I have found probably the best places is probably holding it by the tail binder or holding it by the crotch area if you can get your finger back here, because those tend to be the most stable parts. If you try to hold them on the chest here, what will happen here is the chest may come off and it may just pop loose while you're trying to move it around, because like I said, it comes up like that and then you gotta kind of fiddle around with it to get it back in again. And this, in order for this kit to look right, the chest has to be kind of at the right angle, because if it gets pushed up it looks kind of weird and the color of the kit gets completely hidden, which is something I've seen on a lot of other people's kits of the real grade Zeta. Like, I can't see where the neck of the kit is because this front piece is shoved up, and it's not supposed to be shoved up. It's supposed to be like that, so you can kind of see the collar a bit. But anyway, moving on to articulation here. Let's start at the head. The head is got a great range of motion, to be honest. Here, it's a little loose. Can look up about that much and look down about that much here. And if you're curious about the V-fin on here, I think Bandai actually did a pretty clever thing with the V-fin on here. What you do is you actually pull the little red piece forward a bit, and these will just kind of point straight up like that. I think that looks pretty neat. It's a lot better than on the Master Grade Zeta 2.0. I think the Master Grade Zeta 2.0, they just bend straight up and they have little hooks at the end. So just kind of put those back down, push the red piece back in, and just kind of straighten this out a little bit. And there you go. Nice. Now moving on to the arm here. The arm joints, I do kind of what I mentioned during construction here. I had a problem with the elbow joint, not elbow, shoulder joint on the right arm when I was putting it together. It was kind of frozen. It was molded not quite correctly, and it was stuck, so I had to do a lot of carving out some areas on the elbow frame and heated it up with some hot water, try and soften the plastic up a little bit to try and carefully bend it so that it could move again, because originally it was kind of frozen like that, which if you know, as a transforming kit, this is supposed to at least come down flat, otherwise I can't transform the kit if it's stuck like that. So you may or may not run into that problem with this kit if you decide to buy it. Just kind of be aware of that. I haven't had that problem before on a real grade kit here. That was the first time I've had a problem like that. I've had the joints disintegrate on me before, but that was mainly my fault for using a lacquer based liner on the parts here, which I've talked about before, which you're not supposed to do. This was just completely stuck and seized up, but anyway, I talked about that enough here. Let's move on to the arm articulation here. So this bends now. It can bend up pretty well here. It kind of helps to flip that up a little bit here, like so. Pretty good here. Double bend in the elbow here. It'll bend around like so right there. Just like with the Master Grade Zeta, unfortunately there really is no clavicle joint on here. It doesn't move back and forth, so you're not going to get any good across the chest motion with this here. So if you were expecting that on the real grade Zeta, I hate to disappoint you, but it doesn't do that. So, but then again, the Master Grade Zeta 2.0 didn't really have that much articulation in that area either, so I guess I can't really hold it against this kit too much here. I mean, maybe someday Bandai will figure out a way to do that on a Zeta kit, but for now, this is not the case here. Also, these little pieces on the shoulder like to fall in a lot really easily, so if you're handling it, these are going to get pushed in. You should know these are for transformation, by the way, not shouldn't worry about that too much here. You do get your typical real grade hands, you do get your fixed hands, which I'll talk about in the extras. Moving on down. Torso actually has some decent bend range of articulation. It can go around pretty easily here. It can flex side to side slightly, but I wouldn't really push it too much. Sometimes I forget to talk about the cockpits here, but the cockpit does open up on this here pretty nicely here. And I don't know if you can see inside of there, there actually is a little chair and a cockpit monitor in there. You don't get a Camille figure for that, but the other thing that I discovered is really neat about this kit here is that this little cockpit seat, you can actually flip it down for the Waverider mode, so that will actually be aligned with the rest of the kit here. That is something that the Master Grade does not do. So that's actually a nice little detail from Bandai. I really like that. Moving on down to here, the waist here, which is interesting. Side skirts and the front skirts are both attached to this bracket that is attached to the top of the leg here. Now on the Master Grade 2.0, the front skirts are attached to the centerpiece here, and they just kind of fold inwards out of the way here. On here, they're attached to this bracket, and it's kind of problematic because every time you touch these things, they end up getting pushed inwards, which looks really weird. And they're kind of hard to straighten back out again, because every time you touch them, they end up going back in again. But this will come off really easily. Doesn't really bend up that far, but that's about the range, and it just falls off. These will bend up about like that, like so here. There's a little joint there. Now, as you can probably see here, this is attached to the same bracket that this side skirt is attached to, and it's attached to the top of the leg here. Now, moving on to the top of the leg here, as you can probably see here, there is no actual traditional hip joint in this kit here. On the Master Grade Zeta 2.0, they do have it does attach to the hip, but here it does not. It's actually attached to the butt. It's actually attached to the butt of the kit here. And what is really a really weird engineering move on Bandai here, the leg is attached to this kit, via these really tiny plastic C-clips that's right there, and that is the only thing holding the leg on. You can say it's probably a daring move by Bandai to do something like that. In my opinion, it's kind of questionable, because I don't know if I trust this entire leg assembly to a tiny little C-clip. But anyway, the leg will move up like that, and it can come out like so if you need it to. And as you can see, as I'm moving that, the bracket that the skirt armor is attached to is coming out of alignment. That's just something you're going to have to deal with. And sometimes the back plate starts to come out of alignment too as you're moving it around, but just going to kind of keep an eye on that. It will move like that, like so, and the knee is double jointed. You have to be kind of careful when moving it here, because otherwise pieces like to get caught while you're moving it around here. This little black piece here that's on the back of the leg right there, this goes all the way up to the front of the leg right there. And during transformation, you'll flip it kind of like that, and then tuck it like that, and it'll stick out the front like that. To bend it back, you need to bend the top joint first and then the bottom joint. If you try to do it the opposite way, it gets stuck. So don't try and do it the other way around. And down to the foot here. The foot's actually pretty neat on this kit here. I think it's a little better than the Master Grade 2.0 in my opinion here. It's got a little bit more range of motion to it. Pretty good side to side. Not so much to the forward here, but back is okay here. What I really like about this here is that they actually made the little back heel spur bigger on this kit here than the 2.0 Master Grade. So it actually has an easier time standing up. Because if you remember my Master Grade 2.0 Zeta review, there's a lot of trouble trying to keep that kit standing because it likes to fall over backwards all the time. But moving on to the back here, the backpack pieces, they are attached to little brackets, flexible brackets that are right here, plug right into the back, and it's a lot simpler than the 2.0 Master Grade, but they can fall off if you play around with them too much, so they kind of flex just a little bit but not much. The little fins will come out if you want them to, just kind of have to find them here. There we go, like that. And this tail binder will come up like so if you want it to. Back skirts will move on this kit. I don't think they move that much on the 2.0 Zeta, but they're there if you want them to. This little back piece here, center piece here, this actually locks the hip pieces in place so they don't come out completely while you're moving it around, but they will slide up and lock into the top part of the torso to kind of keep it still while it's in Waverider mode. So overall articulation is actually pretty good. As you can see, as I handled it, nothing actually fell off the kit here, maybe except for the side skirts because I put some pressure on them here. But as you can see, I just put it back there. You're kind of going to have to fix it again to make it look right because it got caught. It's kind of all messed up looking now. I'll have to fix it later, and I'll have to cut away and fix this here. But it's not terrible, but you do have to kind of be aware of some things about this kit here. It's not going to be like completely perfect in its articulation here. I do know sometimes you move around the little yellow vents on the torso like to fall off a lot. You will probably have to glue those in place. Side skirts may fall off. The whole kit may get kind of kinked out of place as you try and move it around a lot, but no, in terms of being a hand grenade and exploding into a billion pieces as I'm handling, it really hasn't done that. So I kind of hate to disappoint you. So it doesn't really fall apart that easily. I mean, I can do a little shake test on it. The legs will wobble around, but then again the Master Grade wobbles around like that too. So it's kind of leaning forward now. Anyway, this gets a 6 out of 10 from me on articulation here. It's above average for what it is here, but if you want a Zeta kit that's actually stable while you are posing it, this is probably not the kit for you. So, alright, and I'm back here, and as you see, I got the Zeta in sort of a pose. It's better looking than it was before here. But anyway, let's move on to what we got here. So starting one off, we have the Zeta Gundam's main weapon, the beam rifle here. And as you can see, the E-Pack is kind of missing on there. Actually, let me find that. Okay, found it. Let me put this into its beam rifle mode here for you here. And slides out. So, again, pretty nice looking weapon here. Really nice, straight out of the box here. You do get a clear blue piece for the lens up here, but you do get a green sticker for that as well here. I just went ahead and stuck it behind the lens, so it looks a little nicer that way. And this little piece in the front, that's a green sticker. I just stuck that in there because usually there's a sensor in there as well. A lot of the yellow on this kit is these gold stickers. You get these gold stickers for a lot of the yellow details on the Zeta Gundam. They look okay, but they do you get kind of air bubbles underneath these things as you're trying to put them down, and it's kind of hard to get rid of them. But they look okay. Uh, Again, it's pretty good. I mean, it kind of has the same problem as the beam rifle on the 2.0 Master Grade Zeta, where it kind of has some trouble holding it because this little piece here likes to kind of get in the way of things a lot. So sometimes I try to just tuck it up like that, and it's kind of not quite so much in the way on the forearm. But I mean, it poses okay with it here. Probably the only real problem I have with this kit here is that the E-pack likes to fall off of this lot. It's really loose for some reason. It just kind of lays on here. But I mean, you can always kind of fix that by adding a little bit of paint under there, so it's not really that big a deal. It's just kind of annoying, that's all. And for the Waverider mode transformation, this stuff all flips back and this collapses, and it attaches to right there here for the Waverider mode. Shield, it's also pretty nice here. Pretty nice looking shield here. It's got a lot more detail on it than the Master Grade 2.0 shield here. The connection hinge is right here, and that's just kind of plugs right into the forearm right there, or like that if you want. This slide open a little bit here like that, and this little piece will come off the front for the landing skids, which I'll talk about in a moment here. But yeah, it's pretty nice here. You do get an extra accessory for this here. You get this little two-piece missile pod that will plug into the shield down here, like so. And you have these extra missiles on the Zeta Gundam. You can fire out if you want. 2 red missiles. Pretty nice. You can't put it back in the Waverider mode with this on here, but you have to take that back out again if you want. Beam sabers are the next thing we have here, and you get 2 of them. You get these nice little long red beam sabers, pretty standard here with these 2 black beam sabers. You can store these in the side skirts if you want. They are kind of loose when they're in there. Sometimes they do fall out, but I have them out here for display for you here. But it holds on to it pretty well. You want to use the fixed trigger hands for these, not the real grade hands. Real grade hands can't really hold these. But they're beam sabers, not really too much to say about them. But in addition to that, you do get 2 more beam saber blades. You get these short ones, and these ones go on the beam rifle. So you can have the beam saber on the beam rifle here. Pretty nice. I have one that's kind of bent. I don't really use that much, but I guess if I want to do like a slashing effect with this, I guess I could use that. But pretty nice. That Bandai gave you an extra beam sabers for that. Pretty nice. Now for the forearms, you do get the grenade launcher packs. These will plug right into the holes on the forearm, so you do get that. And I did forget to mention while I had it out before here, you do get the hatch for the grenades here. Let me pop that open here real quick here. Yeah. There we go. And there are a couple of little grenades sticking out right there. Pretty nice. You do get your assortment of trigger hands. You get 1 trigger hand for the right hand. You don't get one for the left. Kind of disappointing, but you do get this open emotive hand for the left arm. Pretty nice. You don't get one for the right. And you do get your 2 fist. And parting from the norm here, these do not come on the MS joint frame. They are actually on the ABS plastic runner, which is a little different from the norm, but you do get those as well. They look exactly the same. And you have your real grade hands. They're on the kit right now. And you get your little Camille Be Done figure, 1/44, with his helmet off. And one of the most exciting things to me about this kit here is that he actually comes with landing skids. Here's your one for the front, attaches to the shield. And you get 2 for the back. These attach to the backpack of the kit. Well, it's in Waverider mode, so awesome. I love having landing skids for this thing, because if you remember, the Master Grade 2.0 does not come with the landing skids, which is really disappointing. But at least I'm happy Bandai provided them for this. And you do get your action-based connector, which is a little different from the norm here. It's really tall. It actually plugs into the front underneath the crotch right there. And that is for both the Mobile Suit mode and the Waverider mode. And it actually works pretty well here. So I really don't have an issue with it. Works nice. So anyway, that's all you get with this kit here. So you actually get quite a lot of stuff here. But you may be wondering, there seems to be something missing, and you probably know what it is. Where is the big Hyper Mega Launcher? Well, Bandai didn't give you a Hyper Mega Launcher for this kit here. I guess if you really wanted one, you probably would have to steal one from one of the high-grade Zeta kits. That's about all I can tell you. So with all that, the extras gets a 8 out of 10 from me. Pretty good extras. I mean, it probably would have been a 9 if they provided the Hyper Mega Launcher with this here. But, I mean, with what you get here, it's pretty good here. So, I guess I'll talk a little bit about the transformation here of this kit here, which is probably the other big concern that people have with this kit here. To kind of go over very simply here, take your time transforming this kit here. It's very important that you do not get frustrated while working on this thing, because there are a lot of pieces, especially the torso likes to come apart while you're transforming it. It came apart on me a lot when I was transforming it. I only did it one time. And the front comes off, the back plate comes off. It's really, and this front torso piece has to slide on a joint inside of it, and it's really hard to get it to slide properly. So parts just come off as I'm transforming it here. So in that case, that probably is where the hand grenade part of this kit actually starts to come true here, is when you're trying to transform it. Those side skirts will fall off. You're going to be very nervous about the legs and the way they are attached, because you got all that weight is on that one tiny plastic C-clip. The backpack will swing around to the front, but I recommend not trying to do that. Since it comes off the back pretty easily, you might as well just take them off and transform them manually when they're off the kit. And once you get everything else arranged properly on it, then go ahead and put them back on. Realistically, I found that to be the easiest way to deal with that. Otherwise, they're probably just going to fall off on their own. But I mean, once you get everything together, if you manage to, and get into Waverider mode, it is actually surprisingly pretty solid in Waverider mode. And I know that was the same thing I said about the Master Grade Zeta 2.0. Some people don't seem to believe me on that. That it actually is pretty solid in the Waverider mode. Both of them, this one included. Which again kind of surprised me. I expected it to be a little more flimsy, but it wasn't. So I might actually keep this in Waverider mode just because it looks so nice. And my Master Grade is, I don't know if you know, is kind of fixed into Mobile Suit mode, so it's never going to transform again. So, but I mean, it's a thought. I might do it. I don't know, but we'll see. But the Waverider mode looks really nice on this here. There is a lot of exposed mechanical stuff on the back, or top of it, I guess you want to say. It doesn't really bug me that much here. But otherwise, I think it looks really good. The only iffy part about it in Waverider mode is that the side skirts don't really seem to line up very well on the kit here. They line up really nice on the Master Grade 2.0. On this kit here, they always seem to be a little bit off. Like they're too far forward on the kit, in my opinion. But there's not a lot I can do about that. That's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, transformation, once it's transformed, it looks pretty good. But it's just the process is going to be really time consuming for you. So again, if you don't want to deal with that sort of thing, just get one of the high grade Zetas. You'll save yourself the frustration. So getting on to the end of this review here, which probably is going to be a bit lengthy. I do apologize for it because there is a lot to talk about with this kit. The value here, value score. The real grade Zeta came out in November of 2012, so it is a few years old now. It retails for 3,000 yen, which is about $26 US, which is not that bad of a price for a real grade, but it is higher than the average price of 2,500 yen. So, but you are getting some interesting stuff with this kit here. So, the only things I can really compare it to are the Master Grade 2.0 and the two high grade Zeta kits that exist. There is the old high grade Universal Century Zeta kit, which is officially outdated now. It came out, I don't know the exact date when it came out, but it's retails for 1,600 yen. Pretty basic, but realistically, right now, I don't think anybody's going to buy that kit. It has been replaced by the Gundam Evolution Project High Grade Universal Century Zeta Gundam, which came out just last month. And that goes for 1,800 yen, and I've seen a lot of reviews of that and the early pictures of it. It looks really good right out of the box, except for all the massive red stickers on the backpack here, which I think is really ugly in my opinion. But if you don't want a transforming Zeta Gundam kit that looks really good and that you can play around with a little bit, by all means go for the GEP Zeta Gundam kit here, which came out last month here, which so far from what I've seen looks pretty good. So the only other thing is the Master Grade 2.0 Zeta that came from 2005, and that retails for 5,000 yen. I actually have it right here with me, and the beam rifle fell off, of course, because it doesn't like to stay on, so you can kind of get kind of an idea of how that looks. Also, while I had the beam rifle, something interesting I kind of want to note here. Pull this out here. The barrel on the end of this is just as big as the barrel on the Master Grade Zeta Gundam. It's like, why is the barrel on this thing so huge? I thought it was kind of big when I was putting it together, but yeah, it's the same size as the Master Grade, which is kind of weird. But anyway, so you can kind of see the Master Grade 2.0 in the background there. It's not as panel line heavy, but it still looks pretty good, and as you can see, these side skirts are attached to the center there. It's kind of loose. But so the real grade kind of lands somewhere kind of right in the middle between the Master Grade and the high grade Zeta kits, so it's kind of right in the middle there. But like I said, if you don't want to deal with the hassle of a transforming 1/44 Zeta, go for the high grade kit. You'll probably be fine with that. And the larger scale 1/100, really you only practical option is the 2.0, which is still a good kit. It's not bad. It has its own share of issues to deal with, but I think all the transforming Zetas have their own share of issues to deal with here. So I'm kind of rambling here, so let me get to the value score here. It's going to get a 7 out of 10 from me. So slightly above average. It's still a good kit, but like I said, it may not be the right kit for everyone. So that's probably how I'm going to sum this up. Alright, so the real grade Zeta Gundam gets a final score of 30 out of 40 here, which kind of puts it right at the cusp of being a awesome kit. It still ranks as above average Gunpla kit, and I think, as I said before in the value score, this is not a kit for everybody. I don't think I would recommend this to everybody, because there is some level of patience you have to have when building this kit and with posing it and transforming it. But in terms of looks, it looks fantastic. It really does. And I didn't think I would like this kit as much as I thought I would. But you know, I'm actually okay with it. You know, if you're kind of a sadist like me and can deal with all these complex transforming Gunpla, then you'll probably be okay with this kit. If you don't like that sort of thing, don't buy this. Just save yourself the frustration and get one of the high grade kits. So anyway, that's going to be the end of this review. I know that was kind of lengthy, but like I said, there's just so much to talk about this thing, and I probably repeated myself a few times here. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that review, and thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked this review, and be sure to subscribe, because there's always going to be more videos coming. And if you want to see some more of the real grade Zeta kits, I do have my photo gallery, which is going to be in the description below here. And I may or may not do a transformation video on this. Maybe I will. If you'll be interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I've got some more transforming kits coming. Definitely a big one for next week. So anyway, see you then. Bye-bye.